Praja Janardan Yasodanandanam Braja Janardan Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yamuna Teravana Chari Yamuna Teravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yamuna Teravana Chari Yamuna Teravana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yasodanandana Braja Janardan Yamuna Teravana Chari Yamuna Teravana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Sirate Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Sirate Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Sirate Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jai Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya 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 Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jnana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya-Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Śrī Guru Śrī Juta Padakamala Śrī Gurum Vaishnavamscha Śrī Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Śrī Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Śrī Visakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaniswari Vrisabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kipasindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Kṛṣṇa 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Adi-lila, Chapter 2, Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So please repeat after me. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Śrī Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Text 97 of the Adilila, Chapter 2, Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a little bit very technical, so we will read also from Caitanya-caritāmṛta, but in a different section from the Madhya Lila, because it's connected. It's more clearly explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami about this topic. Here it is like a little bit of synopsis, like a summarize. And we will read up to text 100, because they're also connected. Is that okay? Yes? kṛṣṇera svarūpera haya ṣaḍ-vidha vilāsa. kṛṣṇera svarūpera haya ṣaḍ-vidha vilāsa. prābhava-vaibhava-rūpe dvi-vidha prakāśa. 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 Matajis. svarūpera, haya, ṣaḍ-vidha, vilāsa. Prābhava-vaibhava-rūpe, dvi-vidha, prakāśa. Word for word meaning, kṛṣṇera, of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Svarūpera, of the form. Haya, there are. ṣaṭ-vidha, 6 kinds. Vilāsa, pastime, forms. prābhava-vaibhava-rūpe, in the divisions of prābhava and vaibhava. Dvi-vidha, 2 kinds. Prakāśa, manifestations. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupada. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead, Śrī Kṛṣṇa, enjoys Himself in 6 primary expansions. His 2 manifestations are prābhava and vaibhava. Everybody please repeat. The personality of Godhead, Śrī Kṛṣṇa, enjoys Himself in 6 primary expansions. His 2 manifestations are prābhava and vaibhava. Purport. Now the author of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta turns to a description of the personality of Godhead Kṛṣṇa in his innumerable expansions. The Lord primarily expands Himself in 2 categories, namely prābhava and vaibhava. The prābhava forms are fully potent like Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and the vaibhava forms are partially potent. The prābhava forms are manifested in relation with potencies, but the vaibhava forms are manifested in relation with excellences. The potent prābhava manifestations are also of 2 varieties, temporary and eternal. The Mohinī, Haṁsa and Śukla forms are manifested only temporarily in terms of a particular age. The other prābhavas who are not very famous according to the material estimation are Dhanvantari, Ṛṣabha, Vyasa, Dattātreya and Kapila. Among the vaibhava-prakāśa forms are Kurma, Matsya, Nara-Nārāyaṇa, Varaha, Hayagriva, Vrishnigarva, Baladeva, Yagya, Bibhu, Satyasena, Hari, Vaikunta, Ajita, Vamana, Sarvabhauma, Ṛṣabha, Vishvakṣena, Dharmashetu, Shuddhama, Yogeśvara and Bṛhadbhānu. So we continue reading a little bit more. It's amazing how the words prābhava and vaibhava doesn't have an English translation. There is no equal in English. That word is so technical, so difficult to translate. The Prabhupada used the same words, prābhava and vaibhava. It's like rasa, the closest meaning is mellow, or we call it relationship, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur uses the translation as mellow. And here, the same thing, prābhava and vaibhava. There is no English translation. But the different examples of these different incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Ultimately, Kṛṣṇa is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and everything emanates from Him. Janmadi asayataha. Prabhupada used the word very intelligently. Fountainhead, Godhead. From Him whom everything emanates. Even the Vasudeva form, the form of the Supreme Lord when He took birth in Mathura. That is also, that four-arm form is Kṛṣṇa. That's not Narayan. It's Kṛṣṇa Himself. The same potency, but again, it's in a different mood. Different mood. Because the Vasudeva form is in a Satriya form. Prabhupada says, Vasudeva with the long A, is Vasudeva his father, and Vasudeva, the son. He thinks himself as a Satriya. He never thinks himself as a cowherd boy, because of his emotion that he is a Satriya, being decorated fully with helmet, with armor. He doesn't have a peacock feather on his head, but he is also Kṛṣṇa. So that is what you call prābhava. Same with Lord Balaram. Prabhupada says there is no difference between Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Balaram. He is prābhava-prakāśa. So, we will read a little bit more. There are many, many things in here, but very technical. One time, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples asked him, is it true, Meher Bab, is very famous at that time, is vaibhava-vilāsa? And Prabhupada laughed. Then he just laughed. And then, again, one of his disciples asked him, can you please describe this vaibhava-vilāsa? Can you clearly describe? And Prabhupada says, very few words, but then he says, oh, this was already mentioned in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, because it's the summary of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, especially the teachings of to Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami and Ramananda Roy. He says, if you want to know more, you just read teachings of Lord Chaitanya. How can I explain clearly all of them? So meaning that, he said also later on, oh, you're expecting the teacher to recite the whole dictionary. How is that possible to recite the whole dictionary? He was just laughing. So it's a little technical, it's very difficult to remember all of this. But for our own purification, it's needed for us to hear them. It's like here, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is enjoying himself in 6 primary expansions. That means different incarnations. or manifestations. Next text, we'll go back and forth because it's all connected, and then later on we will read from Madhya Lila where it is further explained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. I will just read the translation. His incarnations are of two kinds, namely partial and empowered. He appears in two ages, childhood and boyhood. So that means two incarnations means Haṁsa and Śukla. That means partial and empowered. Now in Śukla, it could be also in a Jiva Tattva category. Not all of them are in the Vishnu Tattva category. And because of the Lord, when He came 5,000 years ago, He manifests Himself just like a human form, as a human. And therefore, He took birth. And He had two ages primarily, childhood and boyhood, which later on, again, Lord Kṛṣṇa manifests Himself as His eternal form, a 16-year-old boy, 15 months or 15 years and few months, where on that age, He eternally performed His pastimes. Srila Prabhupada says the Supreme Lord's pastimes is compared to the rivulets of Ganga, unlimited. It's like we were in Haridwar a week ago. We had darshan of Ganga, very beautiful, very amazing, very charming, very powerful. And you cannot count how many also the waves of Ganga and the rivulets. That means different tributaries, because Ganga flows from the spiritual world, having pierced by Lord Vamana's lotus feet, by the nail of his left toe. He pierced the universe, and this is where Ganga flows, coming to the earthly planet, first the Dhruvaloka, then the Saptarisis planets, and then to the Himalayas, Gomukh, Gangotri, many tributaries in the Himalayas, and then in the plain, the first place that Ganga touched the plains is in Haridwar. So Lord Kṛṣṇa's pastime is like that also. It is considered eternal because the unlimited universes in the material world, there is always a Vrindavan in each and every universe, whereby the Supreme Lord will take birth. He will perform His pastimes, His Balya, Lila, childhood pastimes with Mother Yasoda, the cowherd boys, Pauganda, boyhood, and then He would dance in the rasa dance with the gopis, even though as a young boy, but eternally He's like a 16-year-old boy. And this pastimes is going on. The moment one universe, Lord Kṛṣṇa will take birth, the next moment He will take birth again in another universe. It's going on like that. Srila Prabhupada's Purport. The vilāsa forms are 6 in number. Incarnations are of 2 varieties, namely Śukla, empowered, and Haṁsa, partial. These incarnations also come within the category of prābhava and vaibhava, manifestations. Childhood and boyhood are 2 special features of the personality of Godhead Śrī Kṛṣṇa, but His permanent feature is His eternal form as an adolescent youth. The original personality of Godhead, Śrī Kṛṣṇa, is always worshipped in this eternal adolescent form. It's like Radhe Shyam, 16-year-old boy. But in some temples, we've seen deities of the Lord looks like a boy, younger than 16. Very, you may say, cute. Very, very admirable. Very enchanting. Very attractive. Looks like a young boy and girl. It's like if you go to ISKCON Punjabi Bagh, see Radha Kanta. They look like small boys, boy and girl. And same with Krishna and Balaram over there. Here our Krishna and Balaram looks like they're adolescent age. So, yes, Srila Prabhupada says Krishna doesn't get old. He's eternally a young boy, youthful in appearance. Just like he performed his pastimes in this earthly planet for 125 years. That means in all the universes also he performed that pastimes up to 125 years. And also, we can see in the Battle of Kurukshetra that he only looks like a 25 years old, Prabhupada says, at the utmost. But he's already 100 years old at that time. Or some Acharya says 98 years old. How is that? That's why this is the difference between Lord Kṛṣṇa and us. We change our body. That means that we can be forgetful. And Krishna doesn't change his body. That means he remembers all the time, past, present, and future. Always the same form. For us, we change our body due to karma, due to the activities that we perform, and due to the desire that we have at the time of death. To have that desire to be fulfilled, we will have a body specifically to fulfill that desire in any of the 8,400,000 species of life. Which means there are 8,400,000 different desires. To fulfill that desire, we will take birth in that specific species of life. And I was reading the other day, a person can have 22,000 desires every day, per day. I don't know how they figure that out, but this is according to research they've done, 22,000 desires. Only. Maybe someone has 22,001. But we should only have one desire, to serve Lord Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. To not have our focus be deviated, to remain unalloyed in our purpose to serve the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Next text, Kisora Svarūp. Okay, we already started. Krishna Swayam Avatari Kridakare Echaya Rūpe Vishvabhari. The personality of Godhead, Śrī Kṛṣṇa, is eternally an adolescent, is the primeval Lord, the source of all incarnations. He expands himself in these 6 categories of forms to establish his supremacy throughout the universe. Ichai rupi hai ananta bibhedha, ananta rupi ekarupa nahi kichu bedha. In these 6 kinds of forms, there are innumerable varieties. Although they are many, they are all one. There is no difference between them. The personality of Godhead manifests himself in 6 different features: prābhava-vaibhava, empowered incarnations; partial incarnations, childhood and boyhood; The personality of Godhead Śrī Kṛṣṇa, whose permanent feature is adolescence, enjoys his transcendental proclivities by performing pastimes in these 6 forms. In these 6 features, there are unlimited divisions of the personality of Godhead's forms. The jivas, or living beings, are differentiated parts and parcels of the Lord. They are all diversities of the one without a second, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even though Lord Kṛṣṇa is fully self-satisfied, param atmaram, is still to enjoy, he expanded himself. And this is what makes him perfect. As Prabhupada says, no one can enjoy alone. Have you seen a person, or there's an English saying, no man is an island. That means you need company, even with your wife or your children, with your friends and loved ones. Or our enjoyment is with the association of the devotees. You can do kirtan alone, but I don't think it is very, very enjoying, and one may not last for a long time, because kirtan means sankirtan, samyak, congregation. You can be a one-man band, but in kirtan, of course, when you do kirtan, it is with you and between you and Kṛṣṇa. But still, it's good to have someone along with you. So Lord Kṛṣṇa, this is what makes him perfect. This is what makes him the supreme absolute truth. He expanded himself in so many ways. In the teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami, after Rupa Goswami's teachings also, and then before is Ramananda Roy. So Ramananda Roy was asking the questions as if he doesn't know the answer, even though he's an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. None different than Vishaka and Arjuniya, Gopa. Vishaka and Lalita at the same time. Sanatana Goswami also is an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. He is a Manjari, assistant of the Sakhis, the elderly gopis who are assistants or girlfriends of Lord Kṛṣṇa and Srimati Radharani. And the Goswamis were taught about these different tattvas for our own benefit. Kṛṣṇa did not leave us alone, being puzzled how to get out of this miserable condition of life. He told the Goswamis to excavate the lost pastimes of the Supreme Lord, to write books, the topics about rasa and tattva. So specifically for Rupa Goswami is rasa tattva, and for Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught him about Krishna tattva. And this part of this prābhava-vaibhava, empowered incarnations, partial incarnations, childhood and boyhood, they were also again repeated in the Madhya Lila, chapter 20, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, or instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami. These different forms of the Supreme Lord, just like here it says, starting from text 182. Srila Prabhupada also gave this class in the early days in New York, from the Caitanya-caritāmṛta. Just imagine In those days, the devotees, they don't know practically even Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada, immediately, he taught Caitanya-caritāmṛta to give them an indication that Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Chaitanya is none different. They're very fresh. Just even right now, to understand Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Prabhupada says we have to read first Bhagavad Gita, and Śrīmad Bhagavatam, and then Caitanya-caritāmṛta, which is the doctorate level of knowledge about Krishna consciousness. So in the early days, I was reading also what Srila Prabhupada says, and mainly he was just reading, and he would make some comments, especially in this part of the Madhya Lila, chapter 20. The Lord instructs Sanatana Goswami. He did not start from the Adi Lila, chapter 1, and then go on, because 1966, he made statements already that, hey, I have to teach this, that we have to know these things. So we may not be able to remember all of this, but it's good to hear them for our purification and to establish that Krishna consciousness is not a sentimental movement. It is based from science, it is based from facts, it is based especially from the Shastra, the main praman, the main evidence to establish that Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none different than Lord Kṛṣṇa. So I'll read. When the body is a little differently manifested and its features are a little different in transcendental emotion and form, it is called tad-ekatma. In the tad-ekatma, there are pastime expansions, vilāsa, and personal expansions, swamsa. Consequently, there are two divisions. According to pastimes and personal expansions, there are various differences. When the Lord displays forms, numerous forms with different features by His inconceivable potency, such forms are called vilāsa vigraha. The Lord's swamsa expansion are also described in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita. When a form of Krishna is none different from the original form but is less important and exhibits less potency, it is called swamsa. Examples of swamsa expansions can be found in the quadruple form of the Lord residing in their respective places, beginning with Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Pradyumna, and Anuruddha, and also in the Purusha avatar, Lila avatars, Manvantar avatars, and Yuga avatars. Again, the vilāsa forms are divided into two categories, prābhava and vaibhava. This is what we were reading from the second chapter of the Adi Lila. The chief quadruple expansions are named Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are called prābhava-vilāsa. Balaram, who has the same original form as Krishna, is himself a cowherd boy in Vrindavan, and he also considers himself a member of the Kshatriya race in Dwarka. Thus his color and dress are different, and he is called a pastime form of Kṛṣṇa. So that's why in the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, in that specific scheduled incarnations of the Supreme Lord, Krishna and Balaram also were categorized as Lila avatars. Because of this, Lord Balaram, none different than Lord Kṛṣṇa, who performed his pastimes in Vrindavan and also in Dwarka. Sri Balaram is vaibhava-prakāśa, manifestation of Kṛṣṇa. He is also manifested in the original quadruple expansions of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These are prābhava-vilas expansions with different emotions. The first expansion of the Chatur-vyuha quadruple form is unique. There is nothing to compare with them. These quadruple forms are the source of unlimited quadruple forms. These four prābhava pastime forms of Lord Kṛṣṇa reside eternally in Dwarka and Mathura. So, these four prābhava pastimes forms Lord Kṛṣṇa reside eternally in Dwarka and Mathura. In the spiritual world, in Goloka Vrindavan is also divided into two parts. There is what you call the Navadvip or Svetadvip, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes along with his eternal associates. And there's what you call another part of the Goloka where Lord Kṛṣṇa performed his pastimes, which again is divided into different parts, namely Dwarka and Mathura. Within Mathura is Vrindavan. And with Dwarka means the pastimes of the Supreme Lord in different emotions, just like of a Kshatriya. That means Lord Kṛṣṇa is eternally performing his pastimes with the 16,108 queens in Dwarka, which according to Rupa Goswami is considered to be full, and Mathura is more full, and Vrindavan is the most full. And within Vrindavan, again, there's different category of or degree of purity. It's like when, the closer we get to Radhakund, which is the purest, but before that is Govardhan, which is still part of Vrindavan. And these different personalities, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva, resides eternally and perform their pastimes also in Dwarka and Mathura. That even this Vasudeva, there is in the statement in Lalita Madhava, that he is so attracted also to Kṛṣṇa, that he has a desire to enjoy with Kṛṣṇa after seeing a picture of Kṛṣṇa in Dwarka. So that's why Kṛṣṇa is all attractive. From the original quadruple expansions, 24 forms are manifested. They differ according to the placement of the weapons in their four hands. They are called vaibhava-vilas. So these four Chatur-vyuha expanded himself again into four, each four. So 4 times 4, let me see that one. There's a description of that here. Different Vishnu Murtis. Ultimately, there are 24 of them. According to the weapons that they're holding into each hand, they are called certain name. And from that, 12 names, the 12 months of our Vaishnava calendar was taken. And I was reading that also that the month of Kartik is Damodar month, but it has nothing to do with Damodar, Kṛṣṇa being bound by Lord Kṛṣṇa. It just being bound by Mother Yasoda. It just happened that month happened to be that Lord Kṛṣṇa's pastimes being bound. I was reading it. But we called it Damodar month, or the month of Śrīmati Radharani. That Damodar is that manifestation of Lord Kṛṣṇa having four-arm form in the spiritual world. You know what is the length or the breadth of a Vaikuntha planet? 8 miles times 100 times 1,000 times 10,000 times 100,000 times 10 million. Only again. That is our universe is 4 billion miles. So what is our universe? Very, very teeny. But the Vaikuntha planets, all of these incarnations also of the Supreme Lord resides in the spiritual world. Of course, some of them are occasional. They're only for a specific age, as we've read earlier. Just like Dhanvantari or Mohinī. They are only for a specific age. It's not like an eternal manifestation of the Supreme Lord who are also present in the spiritual world. So, it is very difficult to understand this, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, for neophytes, like most of us, the best thing is to worship the Archa-vigraha form of the Supreme Lord, to understand Lord Kṛṣṇa. Because all of the incarnations of the Supreme Lord resides within that transcendental form of the Lord. The Super Soul also resides within that Archa-vigraha form of the Supreme Lord. If we somehow or other, with sincerity, try to worship the Supreme Lord with properly, in a regulated way, then we will become a devotee, and someday we will be able to attain love of God. To understand and remember all of these things in Kali Yuga, especially, is not so easy. But Prabhupada says, at least one should also read Srila Prabhupada's books, his books, do Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, and Bhakti Vedanta. It says for those who wish to have Brahman initiation, at least they should pass this Bhakti Sastri. And then for sannyasis, they should do Bhakti Vaibhava, the first 6 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then Bhakti Vedanta, again, Caitanya-caritāmṛta. There is also Bhakti Sarvabhauma. That is super high. By that time, you are fully realized and you are already back home, back to Godhead. But for us, what to do? It's very simple. The formula of Srila Prabhupada is meant for everyone. Just follow the rules and regulations, attend morning program, chant sincerely, attentively the holy names of the Lord, and hope against hope will go back home, back to Godhead. One will not be asked, hey, you know what's vaibhava-vilāsa or prakāśa? No, it's very difficult. It's so technical. Maybe for others, this is easy to understand. There is a story, just one story of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. There was a professor in the Hindu university in Benares. What's that famous university there? Yeah, we have one boy also who went there. He became very expert in Sanskrit. So this person is very expert in Sanskrit and philosophy. So he asked Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I have a question. Can you please answer this to me? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, why don't you go first to the pujaris? I don't have time right now. I will reply to your question later. So he went to the pujari room, and the pujari at that time was a little busy also. And somehow he wanted to ask the question, and he says, I cannot do it right now. I cannot reply to you. But can you help me polish the Lord's plates? Clean the Lord's plates. So he started cleaning and washing. Huh? Oh, Madam? That's the name of the professor? Okay. Madam Mohan Malviya. So the pujari says, I will reply to your question also. Because he thought that instead of asking Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it'll be so much for him. So he cleaned, and the pujari, because he was so busy, he had artik to do or some other deity worship to be done, so he was not able to answer his question. What he did, the professor, Madam Mohan Malviya, went back to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, so what is your question? Actually, I don't need any more answer to my question. I already understood the reply. I already understood the answer to my question. And what is the answer? Do bhakti. Do bhakti. Life is short. Party harder, right? No, Sankirtan, party harder. Sankirtan, party harder. Chant more Hare Krishna and engage ourselves as much as possible in devotional service, either book distribution or prasadam distribution, college preaching, and so on. And hope against hope, by the end of our life, we'll go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. We'll stop here.
Maharaj, is it true that simply by sincerely chanting Hare Krishna, then everything will be revealed to us? We don't have to worry about remembering all these things, right? Krishna will reveal everything.
Yes.
So just chant Hare Krishna, it's all done, no problem.
Yeah, but the problem is we have to be focused in chanting. Our mind is so flickering. The mind would like to do something else or think about something else while chanting. It is easy, but at the same time it is very difficult. We make it difficult. Just leave everything aside when we chant, and everything will be revealed, including who is Krishna, who am I, and what is my relationship with Him. A simple formula. Yes? Anything else? Pritu Prabhu? Pritu Prabhu. Give it to Pritu Prabhu. That's not Pritu.
Just to confirm this, there was another incident here in Vrindavan. The famous jazz musician, Alice Coltrane, she came to Prabhupada in his quarters, and she said, Swamiji, I have so many problems. This problem, that problem. My mind, it's endless. And Prabhupada said, Alice, you just chant. Just chant, 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 and everything will be revealed to you. He said, I built this whole movement simply on the basis of chanting.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Chant, chant, chant. But we say, can't, can't, can't.
Hare Krishna. The service which you say, that do book distribution or kirtan or anything, so any of the one service is sufficient or everything we have to do?
No, you don't have to do all the things. Prabhupada says in the 9 processes of bhakti, you can do 9, you can do 8, you can do 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You have to do at least 1. And that is Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now we can do the other 8, and if we don't chant, Krishna doesn't accept 100% your offering. Let's say you're a pujari, okay, you're doing nice artik, nice offerings, nice, everything nice, dressing, everything. But if you're not chanting, Krishna will not accept your offering 100%. Chanting is the main ingredient for everything that we do. It's like when you cook sabji, the main ingredient is namak. Without namak, no taste. Yeah? Salt. Without salt, maybe it's good for others who are not well, but for a normal person, namak is very important in sabji. Without namak, we will tell Gaur Bhagavan Prabhu what's going on. Okay, we're right on time. I didn't hear, did I hear the bell? Oh, you did? Okay, sorry. Srila Prabhupada K.
Slow bell.
Tayo Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.